Brandon Beane is already working his magic this offseason, and per his comment here, he plans to stay competitive even with a salary cap deficit. Brandon Beane said in his final press conference interview that we don't have the same money that we did in 19 or 20, but we will work around it. We're not planning to take a year off and just not be competitive. The Buffalo Bills and Brandon Beane are definitely working up some moves this offseason via free agency as well as the NFL draft. The safety position, I think Bills Mafia could easily bring in Cam Lewis. I don't know how much money Cam Lewis is going to be getting with him hitting free agency. So I think Cam Lewis could come here back to Buffalo, compete with DeMar Hamlin if Micah Hyde decides to not return. So that to me is also another position that is supplemented going forward here in 2024. So yes, we can panic and look at the salary cap deficit right now being negative $51 million, but we all know that Brandon Beane has worked his magic before. There's a lot of things that we could do in restructuring things. Maybe Von Miller can restructure his contract. Maybe Stephon Diggs is willing to restructure his contract. We could see negative $53 million, but if the Bills work a deal with Stephon Diggs and we happen to restructure him, we could see that the cap drops down to negative $40 million, saving roughly $13 million. We could do the same thing with Von Miller, and instantly the Bills' salary cap drops down to negative $28 million. We could do the same thing with potentially Trey White coming off a major injury back-to-back years, and it drops another $4 million. Maybe we get Matt Milano, who is also coming off an injury, and the salary cap drops to $22 million negative cap space. We still have Nyheim Hines on this roster, and if we end up cutting him, we will save a little bit more money. Some people are speculating that we could get out of Jordan Poyer's contract, which I don't think would be a great idea. Maybe we do decide to bring in Taylor Rapp, but Taylor Rapp is also a free agent. I think it's wise to keep Jordan Poyer here, but I just wanted to present you with some of the things that Brandon Beane can do to free up quite a bit of cap space instantly here for the Buffalo Bills. And I think we can consolidate things a little bit further, especially when you look at all the money that we allocate on special teams. For the amount of problems that occurred on special teams and the amount of resources and cap space that we allocate towards it, it really is starting to hurt us. You look at a guy like Tyler Matakevich, one of the top-notch special teams player in the league, but he's getting paid a premium to ultimately try to have one of the best special teams unit in the NFL. But unfortunately, we were not. For example, Nyheim Hines was said to come in here. Even Deontay Hardy, we're paying him quite a bit of money. And I think maybe the Bills do decide to move on from both of them. We did sign Darrington Evans to another future contract for the Buffalo Bills, another speedy type running back that could potentially fill in for Nyheim Hines' role. And depending on what we find in this year's NFL draft, or if we find someone extra reasonable in free agency, maybe we do move on from Deontay Hardy, who we paid an awful lot to not only contribute on special teams, but offense. And maybe Joe Brady gets more out of him and can scheme things up for this upcoming season, but still, I think we're paying a premium for Deontay Hardy. And Buffalo Bills PR has already reported that Brandon Beane has signed 11 players to the future reserve contracts for 2024. We could see just kind of the players in overall positions. Kyron Brown, a cornerback, Cameron Klein, defensive end, Richard Garage, a young developing offensive lineman, a very big guard center type that could add as a depth piece for the Buffalo Bills. KJ Hammer, a speed demon type wide receiver that the Buffalo Bills are preaching that we need. Jamarcus Ingram, who is also balling out for the Buffalo Bills during the preseason. Another depth piece cornerback for Bills Mafia, maybe to replace Dane Jackson. Andy Isabella, we saw the flashes from Andy Isabella, the speed that he also presents, and he's pretty sizey for a wide receiver of that top-notch speed. So maybe Andy Isabella could rotate in there with Justin Shorter, with KJ Hammer to be an opposite perimeter threat to Stephon Diggs. We can also see Kevin Jarvis, another large interior offensive lineman, adding another interior depth piece. And I love that we have that interior depth piece for the Bills. Another tight end. We are losing Quentin Morris to free agency potentially, but Trey McKitty, another tight end. Tyrell Shavers, who's been here for a minute, knows this scheme, could also compete as that perimeter wide receiver. Brian Thompson, another wide receiver, and safety Kendall Williamson. We all know that Micah Hyde and his status is definitely up in the air for 2024. So Brandon Beane has done his due diligence supplementing a lot of these losses. Dane Jackson, a free agent. We don't know if we're going to be able to retain him. Trey White coming off an Achilles injury. We don't know if he's going to be able to start at the very beginning of this season. Yes, we do have Rasul Douglas. We do have Christian Benford. We do have Kyer Elam. But it would be nice to still have another depth piece corner here for the Buffalo Bills. And Kyron Brown, Jamarcus Ingram are definitely going to be helping things out. You look at wide receiver. We have Justin Shorter, who didn't see the field once last year, a rookie last year, a tall, physical, fast wide receiver. And I think he's definitely going to know the playbook. Although he didn't play, he's definitely going to have a leg up coming off his rookie year. And we add 2 interior offensive linemen. Mitch Morris is definitely getting up in age. Now Osiris Torrance, Connor McGovern in this offensive line completely balled out. But I think it's smart to bring in some additional depth pieces here to the Buffalo Bills. David Edwards is hitting free agency. But again, after all of these moves, the Buffalo Bills salary cap has instantly dropped down to negative $11 million. And we all know Brandon Beane is fully capable of pulling a rabbit out of his hat, coming up with some more additional moves for the Buffalo Bills to save additional money. Just to give you a slight idea of my approach for this year's offseason, looking at linebacker, knowing that Matt Milano's coming back, knowing that we have Balin Spector, knowing that Terrell Bernard is there, as well as now Dorian Williams progressing, I really do think the Buffalo Bills could be set at linebacker, even safety. If we do get Cam Lewis back to this team and we have Damar Hamlin filling in for Micah Hyde in the years past, and I think he's fully capable and should be capable of taking that role over from Micah Hyde if he does not come back. The cornerback position, I think, is set even without having Dane Jackson. Trey White's coming back, Christian Benford, Rasul Douglas, and even Kyer Elam. But I appreciate you guys all so much. If you enjoyed this video and want to support my efforts for keeping this channel alive, make sure you hit like, subscribe. No, 80% of you are not subscribed, so just check the subscribe button. And if you guys have any comments, questions, concerns regarding the salary cap situations, let me know in the comment section below what moves you think Brandon Beane should make, what free agent targets, any sort of NFL draft approaches. I'm interested to hear from you. But again, I appreciate you all so much. Hit like, subscribe, and go Bills.